So sticking with the heavyweights, but let's move it on to specifically just British heavyweights. And a lot of them have had an interesting year. Obviously, we've had Fabio Wardley and the 2 fights against Fraser. Fabio's got a lot of opportunities. Where do you see the direction of travel for him?
Fabio Wardley, I think that he's right on the fringe right now. You know, if you look at him, he's in all the governing bodies' top 10s, and he's deservedly should be there. And that performance, that last one against Fraser Clark, was clinical. It was savage in many ways, the way that he done that after the first fight they had, which was, you know, potentially fight of the year.
Yep.
You know, he turned it around, he made those adjustments and he went out there and he got the job done. And I think that was a performance that told me that he now belongs in world class and he will get his opportunity. So it's about where they go with him now, what they want to do with him. Do they go down that European title route, maybe give him that? Yeah, go on.
I've got a fight for you.
Go on.
Give him Kubrat Pulev.
Pulev's a great one, the WBA regular champion. Now WBA champion again, it's insane. But
really?
Well, he's now
They've got
WBA
that
regular.
nonsense regular belt, haven't they? And that's what he currently holds. And I think Fabio's in the top 2 or 3 with the WBA.
Yeah.
I think, given the performance and the way that he dealt with Fraser in the second fight, and that was a brutal, brutal finish. He showed the stones in the first fight to hang on in there and do his thing. The brilliance of the second fight, let's rock and roll, man.
I've got to tell you,
Pulev could be the fight.
Wardley's one of those guys, he's a threat for anyone.
Yeah.
Any heavyweight out there
He's an
right
athlete,
now.
is what he is.
Yeah, but not only that, he's got that grit and that gut and that determination.
I agree.
He's actually one of those fighters that enjoys being in the trenches. You know, he's one of those rare breeds that likes that, and that will carry him a long way. He's a threat to any
heavyweight. So you think Kubrat Pulev, not the one that Bacoli knocked out, not Jared Anderson that was knocked out by Bacoli? Because I like that fight for him.
Yes, I don't mind that fight.
Actually, to be fair.
I like that fight as well. You know, that's the sort of level that you're talking about. You're talking about the Pulevs, like if you want a little strap around your waist, say your WBA regular puts you in that mix and in that shout. But yeah, someone Jared Anderson is a great fight. I think you stay away from Bacoli because Bacoli's one of those guys that you sort of fight if there's something on the line, as opposed to boxing if you have to, like, because he's the danger man of the division for sure, and he's going to get his opportunity before Wardley gets there. I would imagine.
See what happens with Lawrence Okolie as well, because he's obviously in the mix. He's been given this carry, isn't he, from the Bridgerweight division as being a world.
There's another great fight, Lawrence Okolie.
That's
absolutely.
What I've said, We've obviously got to bring into this conversation Moses Itauma, because so much is now being expected of this young boy. I mean, he's a lovely fellow. He's been in the studio with us a couple of times. But his execution in the last 2 fights, Marius Wack and Dempsey McKean, has been disconcerting for the other heavyweights, I suspect.
Yeah. Interesting.
I cover a lot of MMA, right? And I remember the first time that I watched Tom Aspinall fight, and it's a different breed of heavyweight. Speed, light on the feet, the way that he gets in and out of range, the way that he lands his shots and gets out of the way and doesn't get touched. That's what I'm seeing with Moses Itauma.
They rarely come around, mate.
He is incredibly talented. And I know he's only a baby. He's still got to fill out. He's going to get that man strength, and they're probably going to tell us we're going to take our time with him and all these types of things. Take that handbrake off him. He is unbelievable.
I've been vocal about this, about holding Moses back and saying, look, he's only a 19-year-old, and like you look at you've got to develop him, and you've got to put him in those fights, and you go, where are those fights? Who are those fights? You look at Dempsey McKean, who took Filip Hrgovic 12 rounds, and you think that's the fight that is going to take him a few rounds. He goes and ices him, in less than half a round, and you look at it and you go, they're going to have more of a difficult job holding him back than letting him go. But speaking to Frank,
would you put him in with Hrgovic next?
I don't know that you put him in with Hrgovic just yet.
All right then, would you put him in with Hrgovic this year?
This year, definitely. Oh, 100%.
Okay.
Not even a talking point. Yeah.
So you'd put Moses Itauma in with the guy that was supposedly going to be fighting for the world title this year.
Absolutely.
Based upon Hrgovic and Dempsey McKean, what did he go? 11, 12 rounds?
Hrgovic went 8 with. He went 11. They went 12 rounds.
Would you put him in with someone like Otto Wallin, someone like that, rather than say Hrgovic? Well, Otto Wallin doesn't carry.
Well, he's got Derek Hennig coming up.
Listen, he's got Derek Chisora, and you go, there's another name that you could put in the mix as well, where you go. With Moses, if you look at his last 4 fights, he's been 6 rounds in his last 4 fights. And he's had people like Marius Wack, who's a known trial hall stayer. Yeah. Dempsey McKean, who went 12 rounds with Filip Hrgovic. You look at those guys and go, he should be getting rounds there. And he's getting rid of them really, really early. And for me, it's all about just giving this kid rounds, experience. It's not about the talent, because it's not if, it's when he wins a world title.
So if you're plotting his route, right, just for 2025, what do you, you want to see him active.
Yeah.
Right. So how many fights do you expect to hope to see him
4.
in? 4. Right.
Yeah.
And what do you expect to see the closing of 25 look like for Moses Itauma?
he will be
inside the top 10.
Oh, absolutely.
Easily.
Massively, yeah. I think he is inside the top 10 in the WBO already.
Here we go. At the end of the year, genuinely talking about him being a possible contender for the loser of Dubois Parker by the end of this year.
Definitely. I think another 12 months, that's what I said. I think another 12 months with this kid, sometimes you get talents that come along.
How much has he got to learn? I was listening to Johnny Nelson that was quite critical. He was quite critical of Moses Itauma.
Yeah, go on.
He was praising him in a sort of begrudging way, but talking about the naivety of the manner in which he sets up punches and the way that he throws them.
I disagree.
That's why I'm not agreeing with it. I'm asking you.
He's rapid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not that he sets traps, like you see his thought process, the way that he controls the space, right? So the timing is perfect. Like when you saw him against Dempsey McKean, who was tall and rangy, he was just out of range, but just in range enough to let the shots go.
Yeah.
It was class, and he was showing maturity beyond his years, what he was doing, the manner that he done it, the way that he set that
I suppose the
knockout
only thing we don't know is what happens to him when he gets hit.
Right.
But that's why we're talking about the experience and having to take him into those later rounds.
But on this, we kind of had a similar conversation, didn't we, about Daniel Dubois. He goes in with Joe Joyce, he falls short. That kind of becomes a bit of a making of him. And then you rush him into a fight with Alexander Usyk because he gets a good spot with the WBA. He falls short again. Look at him now.
Yeah, but
those knocks along the way make a fighter.
But I think this kid's different. I think you're talking about superstar status.
I agree.
With them, you're going, that was the moulding of Dubois. But I think with someone like Moses Itauma, you're looking at like a young Mike Tyson, where he was just wiping everyone out, going through everyone, and you're looking at this kid and going, this kid's of similar stature. Like where you go, he's a kid taking out men and experienced men, and you go, by the time he's 22. He will be a serious contender, if not world champion, for sure.
Do you think
for sure
this ambition, this media-fueled ambition that he's going to be the youngest heavyweight of all time?
Forget about it. What's he got? Is it 4 or 5 months away from the...
Not going to happen.
Tyson?
No, that's gone.
So forget about that. Just do your own thing. But I would hope by the end of this year, we are in a genuine conversation where we're talking about him. Whoever loses the Dubois Parker fight,
he's in for it.
Yeah,
he's in for
Is there any danger that we're overhyping this kid?
No.
Some of the arguments have been, with all due respect to Ben Whittaker, there's been some blowback to the fight that he had with Liam Cameron and the perspective of how he was built up, and potentially he came a cropper in that fight and got out of it in a certain way that people will debate. Is there any danger that this kid's going to be overhyped?
No, and I'll tell you why. There's no danger of this kid being overhyped. You know the stories that come out of the gyms, and I've seen him in the gyms.
Well.
His amateur pedigree, like as a 15-year-old kid taking off his school uniform, going in there and sparring with people like Anthony Joshua and Daniel Dubois and doing more than holding his own. Yeah, no, but what I'm saying is that this kid, there's no danger of overhyping him. He's the real deal, for sure.
Listen,
for sure.
I've met him. I think he's a solid young man that's quite well grounded.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of noise around him. Yeah. And the noise gets louder and louder, and the demands get an expectation, and ultimately you can.
But he's keeping those blinkers on.
You can never live up to the
expectation. No, of course.
Yeah.
But from our point of view, how good's that?
Yeah,
to have this exciting time.
Absolutely. I tell you what is exciting. Is February the 22nd. I mean, this is some fight card. This is some set of fights, and obviously being headlined by Beterbiev Bivol. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think it's difficult to debate that this isn't the best fight card that we've seen for as long as we can remember.
In my lifetime, man.
Yeah.
43, and I can't remember anything like this. I know Don King put some crackers together in the 90s, but this is just ridiculous.
Mate, bottom of the card is Joshua Boatsy, Callum Smith for a WBO interim world title. I mean, every title on there is either an interim or a world title. You've got 3 world title fights and 3 interim title fights.
I like that fight, by the way, actually.
It's a great fight.
That's what I'm saying. That is the quality of the card. When you look at that and go, that is at the bottom of the card, you just go, it's not as long as we can remember. This is the best card in boxing history for sure. I'm
not sure what that says about the Anthony Yard conversation, but we'll perhaps dig into that in a different show. Can you see, when you look at the Beterbiev Bivol fight, can you see past Beterbiev? Where are you, Adam, on this rematch?
I picked Bivol to win the first one. Obviously, that didn't come true. I still genuinely believe that he did enough to nick that particular fight.
Wow.
Okay, I'm in that particular camp. I don't think he has to change too much. Maybe just a little bit more output, because the optics of throwing shots compared to landing shots is a thing that I think maybe swayed it in Beterbiev's favour the first time around. I think we're going to get the exact same fight, gents.
Do you?
I really do. And
yeah, I mean, it's a high-quality matchup. It's the best in boxing right now when you're talking about boxing IQs.
Brilliant technicians.
But, yeah, forget...
So if we're going to get the same fight, isn't it going to be rinse and repeat?
Yeah, probably. Maybe.
I'm
maybe.
better Biev. I think that he wins again. I think
I do
that
too.
strength and just that extra little bit of tenacity that will carry him over the line. I think that Bivell's a great fighter, but Bivell likes to control the space and dominate the space, and he's great at doing that as well, by the way. We saw that with Canelo, who was much smaller. But with Better Biev, he's just got this inner strength to close that gap down and let those hands go, and I think that gives him the edge.
His punch output is ridiculous.
Oh, it's insane.
If you look at the stats, like the punch output from Beterbiev from round 1, he doubles. So he's like 30, 35 shots a round up to 60.
So surely Bivell's got to do something different or do it better.
Output. He's got to do
He's got to
more.
match him, yeah.
Right.
But in order
But he'll
to...
know that, won't he?
Yeah, but in order to do
is he
that...
capable of doing that?
Yeah, I think he is, but what you're
comes
then
back
doing
is what comes back.
is you're taking a risk.
Yeah.
Because his defence was really tight in that first fight. If you're taking risks now, you're open to getting chinned, aren't you?
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.